You called, m'lady?
Yes, Parker.
On the 20th of September 2024, the legendary actor David Graham passed away at age 99. Today, we're going to celebrate his life and look back at some of the most iconic voices he provided across a multitude of Supermarionation shows and beyond.
It's strange for me because, apart from the work I've done with Gerry Anderson, I've worked at the National Theatre and I've done shows in the West End and quite a lot of television from time to time.
After beginning his career in theatre, it was whilst playing characters in the TV series Private Investigator in 1958 that David met Gerry Anderson. Gerry was directing an episode of the series and recalls a location shoot in which the climax of an episode was being filmed high up on some scaffolding, with David as one of the cast involved. When the shoot was finished, they admitted to each other their fear of heights and bonded together in their shared suffering of vertigo. It was this encounter that Gerry would remember David when the time came to cast the voices for Four Feather Falls, a puppet western TV series.
I played two main characters. One was Gramps, your grandfather, which I based on a western actor, marvellous western actor in Hollywood. It was in every western, called Walter Brennan. You talk like that, and those Indians are coming over the range before the U.S. cavalry arrive. Ornery critters, and all that sort of stuff. And then one was a Mexican bandit, I think it was Pedro, and he had a sidekick, or the other way around, called Fernando, which was played by dear old Kenneth Connor. And we were always, doing naughties and then getting sorted out at some point.
Following this, David's association with Gerry and Sylvia Anderson continued, with numerous roles across Supercar, Fireball XL5 and Stingray.
Well, I like Dr. Beaker, who was a kind of English and Supercar English version of Brains. But, he was a sort of scholastic inventor on the series. And I did Mitch the Monkey and on. I actually went to the zoo, I went to the London Zoo. I always do my research thoroughly. And then Matthew Matty.
He was a Sherman, this type of voice. He was an inventor, one of those geniuses, like Einstein.
Curiously enough, I didn't do any main characters on Stingray because I think I was doing another job when they did the pilot. But I worked through it doing all sort of subsidiary character voices, so I didn't do a main voice on that series.
Perhaps David's most prominent roles came along in Thunderbirds, voicing three main characters: Aquanaut Gordon Tracy, of course Parker, but he was also the voice of engineer Brains.
I think sometimes when people are very clever, I didn't want to make too big a thing of the stuttering, so it was just sometimes their ideas come out so quickly that the vocal cords can't cope with it, so they go, And there was a marvellous Professor Eyre, A.J. Eyre, and he did that, so that was a kind of influence too. Parker, I'm just trying to work here, and I don't think I can get this experiment right. Well, hurry up then, won't you? I'll give you a bunch of fives.
The story of how Parker's iconic voice came to be is well known to many Thunderbirds fans, and it's best told by Gerry Anderson and David Graham themselves.
Yes, well, this is the King's Arms, all right. Of course, the inside has been altered. Beyond recognition, I can't even get my bearings here. But this is where I got the inspiration for Parker's voice. We used to come down here every day for lunch, and we would go into the little restaurant here where they served lovely English food, and there was a very nice waiter by the name of Arthur. And Arthur used to chat to us at the end of the meal and explain to us over and over again how he used to work at the royal household and how he worked for Her Majesty the Queen. He was very proud of this, and he had this wonderful capability of dropping his H's and then somehow managing to put them all back in the wrong place.
Pack the cases, unpack the cases. You think some people would make up their minds.
At that time we were creating Parker the puppet, and the face was so good that I thought we really must have a great patter for this character. And one day I thought, I know, Arthur down at the King's Arms. Let's base Parker's voice on Arthur.
I'd know that chauffeur's face anywhere.
And so I sent David Graham, who's a top voice artist, down here every day for a week to chat up Arthur and pick up his mannerisms. You, of course, remember that, David.
Yeah, I remember it very well. I remember the first day I was sitting here with the menu in my hands, and this lovely grey-haired old character comes up and he says, would you like to see the Wadleys, sir?
Me favourite.
And I thought, wonderful, revelation. Whole character opens up before me. And I came here on succeeding days, and we worked up quite a relationship, and he told me a bit about his background. He said, you know, I worked in the royal household, you know. I was at Windsor for many, many years. And I said, well, have you got Windsor soup on the menu? He said, oh, certainly, we got Windsor soup. Would you like that, sir? And I was in the employ of the royal household for many years, and then I retired.
Well done, Parker.
Thank you, madam.
Because sometimes you just need one thing, you know, whether it's live or whatever, to illuminate a character for you. And that was the genesis, that's the creation of Parker, which we developed. As the series went on, I added more mannerisms. I mean, I suppose Parker in his prime didn't have the weight we based it on didn't have as many, but I was able to use whatever acting skills I had to enrich the character.
It all began the last time I was away.
In prison, you mean?
The great phrase was, you rang, milady. And I think it was that pause between rang and milady. Don't know why, it just seemed right. And you could do that in very many ways, you know. Or yes, milady. You know, if he was being put down, yes, milady would sound different. If he was cheerful, he would sound in a different way. You could ring so many changes. And then I think I added all the aspirates, you know, and you know, the H's, putting on the H's, and fan and all this, I think, came on afterwards.
Oh, yes. I would agree that I have a rare talent. One that you might say one has, or then again, does not have.
He'd been to the University of Parkhurst, you know, and he was a professor on B Landing, and I always created a scene where he's sort of been released for the last time, and he's sort of walking home, and he sees this roller. It had broken down, you know, and she's trying to change a wheel or something, and he said, well, you know, I have some expertise in that, and could I help you? You know, and she looked at him with rather suspicion, but he sorted it out, and then she invited him over to the stadium for a little cup of tea, you see, and then offered him a job. I mean, the face is marvellous. That, you know, it's sort of that roguish, glinting, charming, and the way the writers wrote wonderfully for him, because that's the raw material of an act. You can't do anything without a script, whether it's for a puppet or a play, and he was a character. You know, people regard him as a human being, and that's why you acted him like an actor, seriously playing a part. You don't act down because it's a puppet.
Beyond the lineup of Supermarionation characters, David enjoyed roles in Doctor Who, helping to craft the voice of the terrifying Daleks. In more recent years, he'd been known to younger audiences for playing Grandpa Pig in Peppa Pig, and in 2015 returned to the world of Thunderbirds to take Parker on yet more adventures in the Thunderbirds Are Go CGI remake. On the 11th of July 2024, David celebrated his 99th birthday. At the Stand By for Action 2 concert, Anderson fans came together to sing him their best wishes.
I'm best known for these voices, and I'm quite happy with that, really, you know, because you don't get many chances in this business. And when you get them, you don't get many opportunities, and you need a bit of luck. And the thing is to make the most of them. And I think I have with Gerry.
Dear David, thank you for all the voices. On so many shows. Brilliant. Love, Gerry.